think you ought to know. Do-do-what-it-up, men's radio. Do-do-what-it-up, the place where men and women really speak. Do-do-what, do-do-do-what. Oh man, what a show. Do-do-what-it-up. It's men's radio. Do-do-what-it-up. This crazy show is on 3 times a week. Do-do-what, do-do-do-what. Now Russ and Phil are there to help with all your cares. We laugh, we cry, we talk like grown-ups do. But if you're sad and low, do-do-what-it-up. It won't cost you no dough. Do-do-what-it-up. It's radio, that's the place for you. With Russ, Kane, and Phil Dave.
Oh, well, a very good afternoon, good morning, whatever it is, wherever you are.
I tell you what. You know what you haven't got and I haven't got in our background? Blooming gold discs. That's what we haven't got. We haven't got gold discs and silver discs and platinum discs. We haven't got it.
No, I can confirm the truth in that statement. I haven't got anything. You
haven't even got them hiding in the mystery cupboard that people like to guess what's in. Not even in the mystery cupboard are there gold discs, silver discs, and platinum discs. They're not there.
But luckily, coming up in just a moment's time, we know someone who has got.
We do?
Gold and platinum.
Almost like a psychic connection. Why would I suddenly think, if only we had a backdrop of gold discs, silver discs, platinum discs, album covers, if only we had that.
I have to tell you, it would make a really refreshing change from those.
Oh, we could only dream of such a silly thing. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Do you? I don't know. All we're going to see is bloody bookshelves.
That's what I mean. Anyone who just insists on having bookcases behind them.
Yeah, boring as hell.
Anyway, you are listening to The Daily Show. A very warm welcome to you. It's Russ Kane and Phil Dave here live with you until 1 o'clock this afternoon across mensradiostation.com, the Men's Radio Station app, Radio Waves, Deluxe Radio, Facebook, Twitter, and of course,
and Krasinski's when you ask for half a dozen bagels. They put them in the bag. All right. Stand by your buttons. Stand by your buttons. I'm going in reverse order.
Crazy name, crazy gal.
E Phantom has joined us. Ed Grossman. Russ, my wall is like, you see, Ed Grossman, because he's in the music industry at a very high level. God, my eyes gone raving mad. He thinks he's got gold discs. We need proof. Not today, but we do need proof, Mr. Grossman. Sue Cressman. Hello, boys. I was so looking forward to seeing you all tuned in at 11 o'clock. I didn't realize it was 12 o'clock.
Sue, how could you not realize?
The thing is, Sue,
for about a year now.
Yeah. Beauty and brains, a deadly combination. That's all I got to say. Glassy Amanda, good morning all.
Excuse me, don't you think I'm living proof of that?
No, I said beauty and brains.
Oh.
What's the matter with you today? Kimmy Lashmar, lovely spring backdrop. I know, it's my T-shirt.
Nice.
Oh, you mean the lovely thing that Phil's put up? Yes, it's gorgeous seeing the blossom. Do your own gags at home. Hey, by the way, Phil.
Hello. What?
AC12, we need to keep it on the DL, but I think you're my chiz. I'll say no more. I'll leave it at that.
Have you been
AC12,
again?
keep it on the DL. For the DIR, the suspect, Phil Dave, has shaken his head. Officer leaving the interrogation room. Chrissy Holt, hi you handsome men. Chrissy, please go and see an optician in Spain. Please, come on.
Yes,
marvelous.
Just say, my life is complete. Watching our very special guest bouncing along to that in the green room is very, very. I'm not going to lie.
From Spain, we go to somewhere else beginning with S. This is genius. From sunny Scarborough, a little bit of alliteration there. God afternoon. Well, if you say so. From Angela Lee, who lives up in Scarborough. And your mother's joined in.
Oh.
Good day, peeps. Suddenly she's Sen Munro. What the hell? What's going on? I'm telling Ray Dave, your father, and that's all there is to it. Right. Good afternoon from Richard Todd. Hang on. Sue Cressman. On the DL, I'm having a blonde day. AC12, Officer Ed. Have you ever heard so much crap in your life? Sat there, I'm thinking, sitting there thinking, well, this is Line of Duty. This is Line of Duty, right? And as I was watching Line of Duty, I was thinking, I really miss the Sweeney. I love
was
Line of
you
Fire.
really missed something else, if I'm honest. I didn't realize what on earth what you were talking about there. But
The whole of Line of Duty is acronyms. So to be honest with you, every time they kept saying jizz, I thought they're being a bit bloody rude for 9 a.m. just talking about jizz for an hour. And then other people, Tony Robinson, thought the same thing. He and I both thought they were sitting there going, jizz? Talking about chiz.
Oh, right.
Yeah, chiz. CHIS. It's another acronym. AC12, another acronym. DL on the down low.
Anyway, sitting in the digital green room, looking suitably horrified at what lies before her, is our very special guest for today, which we are terribly, terribly excited. Now, we've got to be honest, okay? It's a serious subject we're talking about.
It is a serious subject.
Don't think just for a second, just because we're prattling about as usual, that it's all happy and laughs, but it's a very worthwhile cause.
It is.
And delighted to say that the person who is here to tell us about the marvelous organization that is Abigail's Footsteps is none other. Oh my God, it's Cheryl Baker. Hello, Cheryl.
Cheryl Baker in the house.
That's what you say if ever I heard it. Now, Cheryl, it's very, very nice of you to join us, and it's a terrific treat to see you. Thank you very much. But as I say, it is a serious subject. We'll get onto that in just a moment. But first and foremost, how the devil are you? How has lockdown been treating you?
I've been all right. I mean, there's been no work, but I have kept myself busy. I did start with my biography because I am 192 years old, so I've got a lot to talk about. But to be honest, for the last 6 weeks, I would say, when you kind of get brain freeze and you don't want to do it anymore. I was doing that. I've done a lot of gardening, and yesterday, you'll be pleased to know, I planted my early spuds and my second spuds. I've got onions and beetroot going. I also did some seeds. I did aubergine, cabbage, can't remember, there's celery, can't remember. Anyway, and I've got more to do. When I finish with you today, I'll put my gardening gear on and my gardening gloves, and I'll get out there and do some more.
Wow.
I think the question everybody wants to know, Cheryl, and I'm going to go there, your gardening gear, is there any Velcro involved?
Oh, for God's sake.
I'm sorry. It's my obsession. It's my obsession. I never got over it. It's affected me for life, Cheryl.
You mentioned the discs behind me.
Yes, I did.
Well, I've got a fan club on Facebook, and lovely Mark, who runs my fan club, who's listening now, he just contacted me and said, "Are you selling one of your gold discs?" And I went, "No." He said, "There's one on eBay." And I looked, and I did it for charity, probably for Abigail's Footsteps. I sold a gold disc for charity, and the boy who bought it is a big Bucks fan, and he sadly died last year.
Oh,
wow.
Last March. And whoever has got that disc is selling it, and I think that's terrible.
No, that's crap. That's absolute crap, Cheryl. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing to do, That's really cheap. I don't mean the disc is cheap. I mean, it's a cheap...
Hey, how rude.
It's just a very rude, nasty thing to do. You're quite right to be upset, by the way. I'd be upset if somebody did that,
With you.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, in that case, you lot sort of make sure it gets back into proper hands. Get bidding. Right.
Oh, yeah, we should do that. We should get bidding and then return it back to you. What's the Australia? You've got a gorgeous collection there. The one, I can see a beautiful map of Australia in gold behind you
That
as
one.
well. Yeah. What's that one then? Ooh, no.
That's making your mind up. That's the British hit singles for outstanding contribution to pop music.
Yep.
That's for FL gold. Up the top there is platinum. Piece of the action. Camera Never Lies. Land of Make
Love that.
Believe. Making your mind up. If you can't stand the heat, now those days are gone. Run for your life. And the album's at the top. Yeah, did all right.
Do you ever look at that and just think, yeah, that was me? Or that was us, rather. I know it's obviously you and 3 others. You know what I mean? Do you ever look at it and think, yeah?
No, at the beginning there, Russ, you said, are you one of those people who keeps them all in boxes? And I did. I kept them in boxes in my attic until the day came when I realised I wasn't going to get any more. So I got them all out.
The thing is, you say that, but when I announced on social media, I think on Friday, that you were coming onto the show, it absolutely blew up. I mean, I thought people would go, "Oh, that's nice." They just went mad. They went, "Oh, I love the Fizz," and then everyone started doing bits of the. It was lovely. It was very, very nice. You got a huge following, out there.
We've got a fan club, and it's there's thousands in the fan club, and we're still gigging. It's just me, Mike, and Jay now. We call ourselves the Fizz for legal reasons, but we go out and we still work. Although last year we couldn't, but I'm looking forward to gigging again this year. And we've been recording. We've done 3 albums with Mike Scott from Sockcake and a Waterman.
Yeah.
And we're due to go into the studio as soon as this lockdown lifts. We're going into the studio to do album number 4 with Mike to celebrate, can you believe it, our 40th anniversary.
Blimey. And they said it wouldn't last. 40 years. 40 years. Come on. Now, we get on to the charity in a sec. There's a few things I would like to know, and I'm sure everybody would like to know, is we're not 21 anymore. I'm going to venture and say we're not 25 anymore. I'm going to go crazy, and I'm leaving it at that. I'm not going any higher. Do you still enjoy gigging when you get on the stage? Do you still get the same thrill?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And sometimes you stand in the wings and you think, I'm not in the mood for this. And you go out on stage and the cheer goes up and that's it. And you just want to keep going. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's extraordinary. It is an extraordinary thing. If I'm doing my one-man show and I'm in the wings, I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? This is going to be an unmitigated disaster. And you walk on, you get that first laugh. Everything goes away. It's lovely, and you're in a very happy place. It's lovely. Now,
speaking of happy place, for me, one of the things that has been the worst to come out of this year, of course, is the fact that Eurovision had to be postponed and cancelled. Now, are you as much of a fan of Eurovision, of the fact that when you appeared on it, needless to say, but are you as much of a fan of it, or was it just a case of it was a means to an end back in the day?
I love Eurovision. I remember the first Eurovision I really properly remember was when Sandy Shaw won in 1967. I was a young girl and watched that, and I thought, and she won. And at the time, I wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist running because I used to love running, and so that was my aim, was to win a gold medal. And then I saw her win the Eurovision Song Contest, and I thought, no, that's what I want to do. So winning a gold medal took second place, thankfully, because that never happened. But so I loved it then. I love it now. And this year, as I say, being our 40th anniversary, my intention was to get us all out to Holland. And because I know what happens, I've been there several times. When, I don't know why, but Buxters are sort of like Eurovision royalty. Yeah. And they play all the past winners. Before the competition starts, they always play past winners. And when Making Your Mind Up starts, the cheer that goes up is phenomenal. And I just think if we just walked onto the stage, it would be amazing. But anyway, it can't happen.
They'd love it. They'd go nuts for that.
They would.
That's a fabulous idea. They'd go absolutely potty for that.
Have to be next year, I think.
Yeah, it'll probably be 2022. Absolutely right. The new music you're doing, by the way, because I've heard it, it's really very good. I mean, if anyone's thinking, no, it's modern, it's good, it's beautifully produced. God, the production of it is terrific.
Mike Stock, he's getting the hang of it now.
He's just about, he could have a living. He should give up wallpapering and doing windows. He should do it for a living.
Mind you know what you're saying about Eurovision, though. But if you think about, say, last year when they had to sort of put this, I'm so sorry, I've got a bit obsessed.
It is his obsession.
I don't care really. The running order goes out the window on this show, I'm afraid. But if you think sort of back to last year when they did put together this sort of special program when they realised Eurovision was going to have to be cancelled, you look at, say, Gali Atari, who sang Hallelujah from Milk and Honey, one of the Israeli winners from last year, and they recorded some sort of special musical video of it. Can't maybe Buxfizz do something like that? Just a thought. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, we're doing something. We've organised a whole day online via Facebook, which is where our fan club is, of celebratory videos and things. We've got a whole day on the 4th. We run on the 4th of April. So on the 4th of April, you buy a ticket. It's not free, but you buy a ticket and then you can watch at your leisure whenever you want for as long as you want. All the different things that we've put on there. So there'll be videos of us singing at home. I'm going to do a song with my husband that I know all the fans like.
Have you warned the neighbours?
I haven't got any neighbours. I live in the middle of a farm. My neighbours.
Get you, Cheryl Baker, the Archers.
It's not my farm. You know, Wimbledon and M&S. If you go into M&S and it says strawberries from Marion Regan, that she owns the farm where I live. And so next time you go in and it says that, you'll go, oh, Cheryl Baker lives there. Yeah.
No talking, please. Now, look, Cheryl, like we said earlier towards the start of the program, you are here for quite a serious subject. And look, it's very good of you to sort of speak to us about it, because obviously we appreciate anyone who raises subjects on this station. The idea behind us, of course, is, okay, yes, we do joke about it and have a bit of fun. But in between that, we're here for a very serious reason. That is to try and raise awareness of subjects that mainstream radio stations don't talk about that often. And you are the vice president of an organization called Abigail's Footsteps. Now, I know sort of the subline of what they actually do, but perhaps you'd be so kind as to explain what Abigail's Footsteps actually does do.
Well, it started when I moved to Kent a good few years ago, back in the 90s. Now, let me think about this. Yeah, so it became, moving to Kent, there aren't that many celebrities who live here, and so you make all the papers so people are aware that, oh, Cheryl Baker lives in Kent. So scroll forward a few years, and a couple called David and Joe Ward had a baby, Abigail, who sadly was stillborn, and obviously devastating for the family. But what they did was they turned it into a positive by starting this charity. Initially to buy cold cots. Cold cots are just refrigerated cots, because it means that you can be with baby for longer and you can take photos and you can, I don't know, it's just that the bonding thing, that because what they used to do years ago was take the baby away without even letting you sit. Oh, you know, never mind, at least you know you can have them. It was awful the way they dealt with stillborn births before. So they started this charity, and the first event that they held was, it was a fashion parade. It was for wedding dresses, because Joe had a wedding dress showroom. And they wrote to me and they put Cheryl Baker, Kent. And
that was it.
It got me. It got to me. It
was like Father Christmas, Lapland, isn't it? It's unbelievable.
It was delivered, and they asked me if I would, if I would present this thing. And I thought, there are so many charities that are really worthwhile, but the little ones, I think, are even more worthy of help. But
I agree.
Because I almost lost one of my twins. She was born, she wasn't breathing, and if there hadn't been a special care baby unit there, she wouldn't be here now. So she was in intensive care for a couple of weeks, and it was very touch and go, and it was the most awful time of my life. And I thought it could have been me, that I could have been Joe Ward, given birth and the baby not survived. So I helped them then, and after that, it just escalated, and now I'm very, very active. And as you say, I'm a vice president of the charity.
I hadn't realised you'd gone through that, and when my twins were born 22 years ago, they were horribly premature, weighed 3 pounds each, and they were in the SCU, special care unit, for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was really touch and go. So I totally relate to, they're 6'3" and 6 foot, and you wouldn't argue with either of them. But back in the day, at 3 pounds, less than a Sainsbury's chicken, it's a very, very different story there. I so agree with you, Cheryl, that the huge charities, and this is my bugbear as opposed to Phil's with Eurovision. My bugbear is with the huge charities, and we've all been involved with them. They have such enormous running costs, and the chief executives getting like 100,000, 150,000 plus, and all the rest of it. And you think, where's all my money going? And these little charities are so much more. I'm sorry to say this, but I honestly feel it's so much more heartfelt. You know where the money's going, and it's much more intimate, and you really feel that you're making that big difference. I'm with you on this totally.
Well, they've grown since those early days. They've grown and grown, and the money that they raise now, yes, they still supply cold cots, but all over the country. A cold cot, it's a lot of money. It's like a really fantastic refrigerator, and it costs, I think, about $2,500. But so lots of people raise money for those, but also they train midwives. Like I said earlier, with the fact that they used to take the babies away and just, to be perfectly blunt, incinerate them.
Oh,
honestly, that's what. And
can I be, Cheryl? Can I be sort of ignorant? But I'm sure there's a few people want to know this. I'm sorry if I'm being a little indelicate. A cold cot is where you would put. I don't know how else to put this. The baby, after the baby's passed, and you're putting the baby into the cold cot just so you can spend some time with your baby. Wow.
It's because, very unfortunately, again, baby deteriorates very, very quickly. So that's why if you keep it refrigerated, then you can spend time with it. What we've done as well, we've raised enough money to build suites in hospitals, bereavement suite, if you like. But the whole thing, that you've got your own kitchen, your own bathroom, beautiful bedroom, beautifully decorated, and special facilities so that you can sleep by the side of your baby's cot. So you spend the night or 2 or 3 nights, however long you feel that you need to be with your baby until you're ready to let it go.
What has been the experience?
I feel like this is, I know it sounds almost daft, but I feel like it takes a very brave person to get involved with a charity like this, whether it's from the founding of it to yourself sort of actually being involved, because it's a subject that so many people would just turn away from, because even as someone who doesn't have children, the thought of it sort of makes me, well, if I'm honest, it makes me feel a bit queasy, not because of the thought of sort of what's happened, but just the sheer notion what those families must go through. And I can't help but think that it's a very brave person who gets involved with an organisation like this.
Yeah, there are lots of charities that are a lot easier to promote,
Sure.
a teddy bear with an implant on its head and stuff like that. It's talking about stillborn babies is very raw, isn't it? I'll tell you what you should do. You should, when you finished working today, Phil, you should have a look at a video called "The Deafening Silence." Abigail's Footsteps have produced this. That's some of the money that they raised went to making that film, and it's being used by midwives all around the world, not just in the UK, all around the world, to teach midwives what's the right and the wrong thing to do. It's the most, you have a box of tissues with you. I mean, it's the most moving video, but it's necessary. And midwives are learning, how to deal with stillbirth, the most distressing time for the parents. Because some of them just, it's like, oh, well, at least you can get pregnant. And it's all like, oh, never mind, let's move on.
That's extraordinary, isn't it? That's extraordinary.
Yeah, they've done
now,
some
Paul Claridge, one of our listeners, says, I totally relate, having experienced the death of a baby to stillbirth. Our youngest son, who was at full term. God, Paul, you've had a life, boy. We called him Christopher. Paul, I'm so sorry. I know you've told us that before, and to be honest, forgive me for being crass, it has slipped my mind. That is just... And Angela Lee, my boy was 13 weeks premature, 12 weeks in hospital. He's now 32. I presume it's out of hospital, Angela, otherwise you're going to get a hell of a bloody bill there. And Lee Durnford says, hi, Cheryl. I've invited Drew Crawford along to this interview. Apparently, he's one of your biggest fans. He lives next door to my parents. Loved watching you win all those years ago. Amazing. That's from, and there's dozens and dozens of comments on people saying absolutely fantastic things about that. Now, going back to the charity, and going back to the reason we started Men's Radio Station, it's all about mental health and well-being. Forgive me for going in, but I'm going to anyway. The parents who have had the horror of losing their baby, How do they feel that it's a real healing process to spend some time with the little one afterwards?
Not everybody. It's you.
Hmm.
It's there. The facility is there if you want it. Most do. Most want to spend. The initial thing is, as you'll see if you watch The Deaf in Silence, the initial thing is I can't bring myself to even look at the baby, and then and then they want to hold it, they want to love it, they want to dress it, they want to take photos of it. Generally, I know it's very near the knuckle, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
That is the majority of parents do that, and they're grateful that they did do it because they've got something that they can keep forever. There are photos of Abigail and David and Joe. They have two really healthy, fabulous children now, but as far as they're concerned, they're a family of 5, not a family of 4, because Abigail was born asleep. So that's the nice thing about being able to have photos of your baby, dress your baby, hold your baby, and so she or he is part of your family. It's not an it anymore.
Yes.
That's something I've never thought of probably until now, this moment. And this is really terrible to me because I even have friends who have lost siblings to other conditions, but not necessarily to still being stillborn. But you don't necessarily think of the conversations that if there are siblings involved, that the parents have to have, and how ghastly that must be for them. Because if it's not bad enough to be told what they're going to be told the fate of their child is, that then to actually have to go and explain after preparing a sibling for the arrival of one, that suddenly they've not got this sibling anymore. That must be hell on earth.
It must be so hard, yeah.
God damn.
I think that with Abigail's Footsteps, it gives counselling. It offers so much for families who are in exactly the same position as David and Joe were, and so that's why I support them. I just think they're fabulous what they do. I really do. Like you said, Russ, it's all the money goes to the charity rather than paying for a big office in London and
Precisely. That's my argument. Timmy Alexis Carrington Ward, silly bitch.
I know.
Yeah, I said it. Stephanie Beecham was on Loose Women, and saying when she gave birth to her daughter who died, she asked if she could see her. God, this is rough to read, I tell you. And the nurse just turned to her and said, "Sorry, but she's in the incinerator now." So horrible. Oh my God.
Go. Honestly,
I'm actually feeling
the baby was born asleep. It was as if the baby was born stillborn, it didn't matter anymore. It wasn't a human being. But for a mother, and I don't know what it's like to have that baby inside you and feel it moving. It's a living thing, and I don't know what happens and why it's stillborn. I don't know why that happens, but for it to just be taken away is just unbearable. It must rip your heart out.
I had no idea. And Cheryl, apart from everything else, and we are thrilled to see you, and there's a lot of love for you, but I'm showing my ignorance, and I feel like I'm sure we'll echo this. We didn't know this. I actually didn't know this. I didn't know it was so brutal. I'm going to read this from another of our listeners and viewers. She lives in Spain. Her name's Chrissy Holt. God, this is I'm struggling today with this. In 1968, I lost my firstborn at 5 months. She lived for 6 hours. My memory of her was in a kidney dish. Oh, Jesus. Arms and legs going. We christened her and buried her, a small white coffin. I still see that memory, but I didn't hold her, which I would have liked. Tracy Jane will never be forgotten. I mean, if that doesn't rip your heart into, oh.
And what's amazing is that how we've been doing this program now for about 2 years, and we have our little army of regulars who sort of regularly contribute to the program. We know there are people who just listen as well, but there's absolutely quite a few people who regularly contribute. And Chrissy is one of them. She often sends us messages, often joins in the conversation. Never ever knew that.
No, never mentioned it.
Amazing. Didn't know that about. And just I think that I'm always so blown away with the candidness and how brave people are on this station to be able to share their experiences, because we don't take for granted that you're going to do that. By the way, we never assume that you're going to be brave enough to share your experiences of whatever subject we talk about, and we don't know beforehand either. So seriously, it's
Yeah, thank you so much.
brave.
I'm going to change the subject. I'm going to change the subject slightly, if I may. Otherwise, I'm going to start crying, which I don't want to do on a Monday, for certainly. Now, there you are, with all the razzmatazz. There's a whole load of things I would like to ask, and it comes back to sort of mental health and well-being as well. A lot of people, when they make huge fame, can't deal with it at all. Can't deal with it. Either they turn to drink, they turn to drugs, or they become monsters. You and I and Phil, we all know them. We've met them, etc., etc. You guys, the Fizz, all seem very grounded. You all seem like, I know you've always been, I've had the pleasure of meeting you, but I mean, the others all seem very, very grounded. Is that the case? And how is it that you kept your heads?
I can't really speak for Mike and Jay. I know that Mike obviously had his demons because we had a big crash, and he had
and he went through the window.
Yeah, he had a blood clot removed from his brain, and he suffered quite a lot for years and years after that. However, now he's fantastic. So, but I think lockdown has not been easy for him because he lives on his own. I think it's been a very lonely time for Mike. He's all right. I talk to him a lot. We do a lot of, FaceTime and Zoom calls and things. Jay, she's like me. She lives in the middle of the country. She's just surrounded by beauty and countryside and everything. She's got a daughter. She's got a husband. She's got a dog. So I think she's all right. Me, my best mate says that I've got a bluebird on my shoulder, and I am always optimistic about life and everything. Even if bad things happen, I think it's because something better is going to come along. And so I'm a very positive thinking, forward thinking person. So the whole lockdown thing hasn't upset me. In fact, I've quite enjoyed some of it. Walking my dog for miles every day, I've liked it. I'm looking forward to getting back to work. But I'm a very forward thinking person, and I just think that negativity makes negative things happen, and so I rule that out of my life, and I'm a smiley person inside and out, and it gets me through the day.
But do you know what, in all seriousness, and I've always believed this, and I don't think it's some hippy dippy crap, that positive mental attitude does so much. It's great for your health, and it's great for you attract equally minded people, whereas misery loves misery, as they say, and it's absolutely true.
Yeah, totally agree.
And if you surround yourself with people, it's like, oh my God, they just drag you down. We used to say what was that phrase that someone in the studio said, Phil? They're mood hoovers.
Oh God,
they're a mood hoover.
I
thought that's great.
I'm gonna.
It's so true. Oh, it's so true, though. I mean, sorry, but the kind of people you talk about when we're in the company of somebody who is always going to see, I don't know, whatever the opposite is looking at something through rose-tinted glasses, maybe grey-tinted glasses. But if you're going to come across somebody who does that all the time, sadly, moods are contagious. And just to sap the mood is horrible. What a couple of ghastly things to have to do.
I've got to read this from Paul Claridge because it relates right back to your charity and everything that you were saying. This is Paul, and you were talking about, and Phil made the point about siblings getting excited, having a new baby, and then nothing, right? Our oldest son was 7 when Christopher died. In fact, he was at the hospital with us as my wife was rushed in as an emergency. The A&E doctor was a total moron. He just walked into the room, looked at us and our 7-year-old son, who was so looking forward to being a big brother, and said, "Well, baby's dead." Our son was hysterical. The ward sister took the doctor aside and literally exploded with rage. She tore him off a strip for his crass manner. Dear God.
Unbelievable. That's why this
thinking.
This training video is so invaluable. It's appalling. But hopefully, fingers crossed, things are moving forward, and they're being taught the right and the wrong things to say now, hopefully.
But when you think, Cheryl, I mean, we're all grown up. When you think that just normal common sense, you don't have to have 7 years of medical training to know there's ways to break horrible news that are not so brutal as that.
It's mind blowing, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I
It
mean,
is.
really, you're right. You don't need to be taught how to have compassion.
Yeah. Anyway, the silly bitch is back. Timmy Alexis Carrington Ward. Cheryl said my wine glass is always full. I said it. Such an idiot. Kimmy Lashmar, Cheryl says, I agree and love your attitude.
It gets me through. It really does.
It does. Well, listen, thank you so much. I don't want to keep you. You've got veg to plant.
I really have. I'm so looking forward.
I know.
I'm trying to plant my herbs, and I've also got some anti-rhinums that I want to put in the front so that it looks. I love them. Bit bunny rabbits, you know. They always look lovely and colourful. So
Very good.
I've got a vision of you nailing bunny rabbits around your front door. I'll go, it's a bit rude. What's the matter with them? Blooming pop stars?
Mind you, I've got to be honest though, I managed to get in the garden yesterday and it was blooming nice. It's the first time this year that I've properly actually sort of attacked the garden and made it look remotely presentable. And it is quite exciting to get back out there again.
It's very therapeutic, isn't it? Listen, it's been beyond a joy. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you on the road. And when you're on the road, come back so we can plug the backside out of where you're going. And when you've got the album out and everything, come back with the guys and we will just push it like mad because we love you guys. You've given us so much pleasure over the years and we appreciate it.
thank you so much.
And by the way, it looks like the final word to Emma Webb, who says, wow, Cheryl, the video, the deafening silence is powerful. So there we go.
There we are.
There you are.
Bye-bye.
Much, Cheryl.
Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Isn't she great? Well, she's such a lovely person. That's what I love about some people. You know, the thing is, Phil, and we've been in the business, well, I've been in the business forever.
Where this is going.
You know where this is going? Where some people are off camera or off mic or whatever it is, you know, you think, oh, they're lovely. I'll just go and say hello. And they're just horrible. We're not going to name anybody, but they're just horrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's not really two ways about it. Let's be frank. There are some people out there who shall remain nameless who are just vile. They're
just horrible people, but they can act that they're nice. With Cheryl, on or off, that's what you get. She's just a lovely, lovely human being. We were at a party at somebody's flat. So this was not a public event. This was I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not saying whose flat it was. I'm not saying the person involved. This is the level of it. So we go one year and it's lovely. And I see somebody very, very well known who's so lovely and fluffy. And I went over. I mean, we're in somebody's flat. So obviously we haven't gate crashed. This is a small party. In the days when we could do that. No, I'm not going to name and shame. I just won't do that. I went, oh, hello, da-da-da. Face like stone corrected me in a really obnoxious way about the pronunciation. I walked away. Well, we both walked away, right? Next year, it was a sort of annual event, right? So I thought, well, this person, maybe they were just having an off day. It's fair enough. So we've all been invited again. Go up, say hello. Even worse. Even worse. And when I see this person all smiley, and no, it's not Carol Smiley. She's apparently delightful. I've never met her. Somebody else, wasn't her? She's all lovely. And you think, oh, you're horrible. You're just a horrible person. To do it once, okay. To do it twice.
Yeah.
And this time I didn't even have to wait because my partner just turned around and just walked off.
But you know what the worst is, don't you? Is when you can actually see them. When you see them actually correcting themselves just before either their screens or the camera's about to go live or the microphone's about to go live, where off air, total misery, vile human being. And then suddenly you hear the countdown to when they're about to go live. So you go to 5, 4, 3.
Yeah, you see it and you go, you're
false.
You're a horrible, horrible human being, but you switch it on.
Mother, no hints. Yes, we do know someone like that. Behave. Thank you. No name.
Not a nice thing to say about your dad.
Yeah.
It's a bit rude, isn't it? Or is it Monty and Carlo who just smile when you're about to feed them? We were at a big charity event, right? Huge, in one of the big hotels off Park Lane. Huge thing, there for rehearsals. Very, very famous. Not so famous now, but this was a very famous. I mean, huge on everything. Arrived with their PA, right? Their assistant or whatever, and never forgotten this. And all the people were very, very nervous because they were amateurs doing something professional. So they were all very, very nervous. And they needed encouragement and niceness. So this particular person, I'm being very careful who it was, came in. So all the people who were being part of this huge presentation, this show, it's XYZ. Oh, it'll be lovely. They're there. The way you kind of look forward to these things. Well, I don't, but people do. And this person got her handbag. I can't believe. Number one, got the handbag and threw it. I don't mean past it. I mean threw it. Take that to the assistant. So the assistant just grabbed the handbag. Not like, would you mind holding it? Or, hey, Phil, would you mind if I just threw it? Just threw it. Get that. Then walked backstage. And instead of saying hello to any of the people there who were so nervous, because what they were doing was very, very brave. And all I'm going to say, these people had all been very, very ill. Very ill. And they were very brave what they were about to do. And instead of being encouraging, going, I'm not getting changed here, and stormed off. So they're all really upset. They're really upset. So I thought, well, we can't have that. So try to cheer them up a little bit. And then you heard the run through, and they're going through the auto cue. They were so rude. I was just in the, the hall, not the hall, the banqueting suite, and I could listen to the run through on the auto cue, and I thought, I can't believe how rude you are. And then, of course, come the event, got no time for it. Got no time for it at all. It's why I loved working with Tarrant. What you see is what you get. No, it wasn't Megan. What you see is what you get. We were all the same. When the mics stopped, we were the same people. Not so big and silly, but we were the same people. It wasn't an act. And I think that's why we lasted 20 years and had 4 million listeners. I guess that's right. Anyway, Lee Durnford fancies some Buck Fizz now. The drink. Nice, a nice drink, actually. Do you like Bucks Fizz? I don't mean the band, Phil.
Honestly, I think it's a way to ruin champagne.
Ed Grossman, I love him. I love his style. You need caviar to go with that. Kimmy Lashmar, I might write to Gary Newman. Down in my car. To LA to see if their posties are as good. Totally lost me, kid. Am I missing the point here? Phil, help me out. I'm not getting this one. Am I right to Gary Newman, LA, to see if their posties are as good? Oh,
I think she's probably referring to, when someone wrote to Cheryl. And to Cheryl.
Oh, the posties. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I get it now. Oh, well done, Phil. I would have spent the rest of the day puzzling over that. No, of course I get it. Just right. Gary Newman, Los Angeles. Cheryl Baker, Kent. Oh, that's funny. Why is Gary Newman called Gary Newman? Pop quiz. He didn't know what name to give himself as a singer. So he opened he opened Yellow Pages and came across Newman's Kitchens, and he thought, I'll do that. So he called himself Gary Newman. Could have called himself Gary Homebase, couldn't he? He
Russell.
Called himself what?
Here's a new man for you. You might want to avert your eyes. Here she is.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Oh, it's Esther Williams, isn't it?
Oh, silly bitch. I said it 1:45, having a bath.
I got in the bath to listen to you lot.
What are you doing in the bath?
Listen to you lot. I've done the exercises. I've done Elle Macpherson.
Yeah.
I'm on the Rosemary Connolly. Then I thought, Cheryl Baker's on that radio. I call it a radio show. I thought I'll get in the bath and listen and watch as well. And then your friend there invited me on. I didn't mind.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest. You kind of omitted the detail that you were in the bath.
I bet you didn't say to Phil, "Oh, I'm in the bath."
Oh,
You didn't do that.
he normally asks me to let him know when I'm in the bath. This time he's on air. At the bottom,
No. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay, we don't hear about your bottom.
My prices will go across of what I will do for the right price, and my credit card and everything. And I do stuff. It's a new thing I found in lockdown to making money.
Give us some idea of the menu that we could possibly ask for. I wish I had enough.
Why would you even ask that, Rob?
But wait, do you take chip and pin?
On a regular basis, ask his husband.
Hard, don't you, dear?
Yeah. I have to tell you,
Mind you, in an age actually of coronavirus, maybe you're better off contactless.
I have to tell you something. One of the things I was only saying to a certain person the other day was the one thing I am really looking forward to when we get out of lockdown before we go into the next one, which I'm guessing, if we have a little window where we can all go round to Petri and just have a nice dinner, which is of course putting the onus on Petri, but I don't really care. What else she got to do? Nothing.
That's it.
She could start cooking now, to be honest with you. She's not busy. And I'm just kidding. It would be so nice. It would be so nice, wouldn't it? Just to see your pals. That would be lovely.
It's very nice. The evening's it's like for me going around an old people's home and entertaining. You all just sit there, and I have to keep you entertained.
Excuse me, one in the group is youngest. Do you?
No, you're lovely, but you keep running away from me.
I think the thing is, though, Timmy. I think the thing is, what we need is somebody else who's a pro-EU person to come to dinner again.
Oh, they all know the story. When my friend, top right to me, Phil, mentioned about wanting to leave or happy to leave, oh, this woman got up and left the table. It was quite ironic.
I think Phil and I made that up.
I don't understand it. She wasn't happy to leave the EU, but she was happy to leave the dinner party. How rude.
Just got up and walked out.
You know what I say? Can I just, in everyone's defense, it's not saying do what you like because of it, but I don't think anyone has behaved in their normal way throughout this last year, to be fair. And that's
I mean, like coming on the radio and television in the bath.
Live on
perfectly normal.
Now, I got a question for you.
YouTube from the bath, don't I, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. No, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Seriously, as you've dragged yourself in here, like some sort of, fairy liquid baby. Talking about celebs, and the point I was making, Timmy, if you could be serious for a second, which is a bit like asking the earth to stop turning.
Look at Sue Cressman always watches stuff from the bath, she's saying.
Well, that would be rather more attractive than watching you from the bath.
And what she's
if I had to vote,
she's normally in my bath watching with me. Where are you, Sue?
She's up the tap end.
Wait,
now,
what about where's the soap? Yes, it does.
Doesn't it? They say.
Did you ever wonder what?
Now, celebrities. What I was trying to say is that Cheryl is as lovely off air as she is, but we've all met, and you've met as well. And please don't mention any names because I cannot face any lawsuits right
I've met Russ, Kane. Oh, he's a basket case in.
Well, that's true. Yes, I probably am. Most of the days I am at the moment, especially at the moment when I'm not particularly great. But it's true, that whole thing about when you switch it on for the camera and when you come off, you're just a horrible kind of monstrous person. Sue Cressman says, I had something rather funny with a low-list C-list celebrity at Nailcoat. That's Nailcoat Hall, which she has, who we hadn't really heard of. The management said, I must make sure you don't ask for autographs or pictures. They were awful.
That was me. I'm so sorry that I was a bit nervous. That's all. It just came out.
Paul Andrews, Timmy, is saying this. You've done your exercises. You mean you've done your roots?
Well, look,
you're looking very. How come your beard is suddenly so
I've
dark?
done Noel Edmonds. It was it was grayer than you, Russ, actually.
Yeah.
It was grayer than this radio programme.
Yay! Now, Lee Durnford.
No references to crinkly bottom, please.
Oh, please, for God's sake. Lee Durnford says there's a positive in every situation. At least Timmy's not in the shower.
I can be. It's just here.
No.
Swipe your credit card, and I shall be in the shower.
We don't want to see you, ladies and gentlemen.
How
Thank
have
you very much.
fellas been? Listen, can I put a very positive spin on this?
Yeah.
There's a few things going on here at the moment. Firstly, I'm going to be 52 on Saturday, but that's my second lockdown birthday, so that's not good. But come Monday, we are allowed out in people's gardens. Now, before you say anything, what the difference is in this lift of the lockdown, oh, it's a tongue twister, is we've got the vaccine.
Yes.
That's our ray of hope, and we've got to be really positive about that, I think.
Indeed.
Have you had yours, Phil?
Had it at the weekend.
How did you get that at 34 years old?
Now, I need to explain this because a few people have asked me this, actually. They took one look at my photo that I posted on social media saying I had the first jab. And they said, hang on a second, how the hell did you do that? Right. Let me make it very, very clear. The age ranges are most certainly the priorities in the moment. So in other words, when they announce it's all 50 plus, at the moment, they're the priority because, in other words, they've finished prioritizing don't get me wrong, there are still people to vaccinate, but they've finished prioritizing them to the extent where they've been invited now, or if they haven't been, they very soon will be. So when they say that 50 plus is the age group they're now targeting, unfortunately, a lot of the time what happens is due to a number of reasons, it could be from over-ordering to people just not accepting the invitation to go and get the vaccine. A lot of the stock can go to waste. So what some of these centers do is they send out messages to those who are on like some sort of waiting list to get a vaccination to say, look, we've got leftover stock. If you know somebody, forward this, click on this link here, and it takes you a separate link to say the over 50s who obviously get priority. And then they put you in a queuing system to get a vaccination if you're one of the ones who actually sort of is registered for what they call the surplus doses. And what that means is it saves them from going to waste, basically. So anyone of any age can get it as long as they've finished giving priority to people of the age group they're targeting at the moment. And I know loads of my friends
like supermarkets with their food. That's how you get your food, isn't it, too, Phil? And they're just about to chuck it out.
Right. I don't stand by that. You see, I've never actually gone through the front door of a supermarket before.
Darling. I always choose the back door.
Stop it. Interestingly, that Ed Grossman, who is a highly qualified man, Ed Grossman said, Timmy, I saw you on Pornhub the other day on the free pages.
I know, darling. And I will get back in touch with him. I put that request. I needed to go out and buy a few bits and bobs for his.
Yeah, from B&Q apparently, which is a little bit of a worry.
Anyway.
Phil, it's like going to M&S late in the day, not Pornhub. That is, Sue Cressman of Nailcoat Hall says this reminds me of the naked organist on Monty Python's Flying.
Oh, does she see my organ?
No, we don't want to see.
It's lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed. So, not loud. Anyway,
I was off there. I did a dab.
Yeah, you're a dab hand at that.
But
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
do want to just say, are we not feeling really positive? I'm really positive about it.
Oh no, totally. I mean, this is absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind now that the fact that we've now reached what is it? Something ridiculous like 27 million first doses or something like that. What an incredible achievement by this country.
Very good. And I honestly think that is the answer for us before when we've been in lockdown and people have been idiots. I think this will take the idiots on, as it were, so we can still be optimistic. I really do.
What would be quite nice is if we just all maybe carried a spare dose of the COVID vaccine with us. So when we see some fool walking around without maybe a face mask or something like that, blatantly not giving a hoot about social distancing, is we just get the spare vaccine, we give them a quick shot in the arm and say, right, there you go, you can be as much of an idiot as you want now.
But I actually, this is my theory on it, is people can. As long as the people that wanted the vaccine have the vaccine, and that includes the nurses and things that are going to have to deal with these twats. It doesn't matter anymore. If we're all vaccinated, the ones that want to and are taking it seriously, then great, I think.
Lisa Janes, 50 Shades of Tim.
I've got a few more, girl.
And Lee Durnford,
I'm not-
I'll feed the line, you can do the tag.
God.
Lee Durnford, hands up whose garden is neat and tidy and ready for visitors. I hope that's not a euphemism,
Does
Lee.
he want to swipe his card? I'll show you.
Anyway, actually, yes, it was. I wasn't joking when we were speaking to Cheryl before. It was quite nice. I actually was in the garden over the weekend, sort of just getting rid of all the dead heads and stuff like that. It was quite nice, actually, because now suddenly the front garden looks like it's come to life again. The back one needs a bit.
Do you not think it's suddenly gone like wintry again this week?
At the moment, it's lovely and sunny.
Okay.
Lovely and,
This week,
yeah, it was horrible. It was absolutely revolting.
it went really.
It's horrible.
Ghastly.
Yeah.
Russ and Phil, next time the bath for you. Ed, you can bet the farm on this. It ain't gonna happen. But there we are. And
no disrespect, but it's probably not the kind of place.
It's not gonna
Tell you
happen
what,
because
boys, also, you did mention Carol Smiley. I had her on my show the other day. She'll come on your show. She's amazing, and she's got stories galore. I'll get her on for you.
Well,
that'd be
thanks.
nice. That'd be
This is
nice. She up in? Did she go back to Scott? I've no idea what happened to her.
And now she's, I don't know if this is the right word. Is it curate?
Curate.
Who? Celebrant. Sorry.
I'm celibate as well.
Is that producer husband in the background there?
Yeah.
Producer husband. Speaking of your husband, when is the show? Because we're running up to the end.
that's good.
When's this web musical, Back to the Future, finally?
Did you see it on Red Nose Day?
No.
Comic Relief?
No.
They showed they did a number from it, and it was so lovely that David was out, and well, that for a start, but out of the house and
Say he was out ages ago, wasn't he?
and doing the stuff that he's trained to do. So that he went to do that, which was so lovely for him, and it raised his spirits. And now they've got a date. They're just setting up the rehearsal rooms and things like that. So for Ready, it's going into the Adelphi, Back to the Future. Cool.
Yep.
David, what is the date, dear? August.
Okay. All right. I think that's realistic. Now, see, I think that is realistic.
Yeah.
Yesterday, just for a change of pace, if I got time, I took Ebony into Soho just to walk somewhere different, as opposed. And it was, seeing all the theatres. I know we've said this a million times. When you see everything closed, it's like, as it traipsed up the streets. It was like, oh, this is just sad.
You see, I suspect, Timmy, that you've never.
Say again? I missed that.
I was saying, I suspect, Timmy, you've never said that before. I went to Soho to go somewhere different.
Well, I was going to say, as if Russ is a well-known face round Soho.
Outside the Admiral, outside the Red Duncan, where it's called. Just hanging around Old Compton Street, just wishing. Timmy, did you interview Linda Nolan? Or am I going? Oh, it says
Yes,
Sue
I did.
Pressman. Yes, you did.
There isn't somebody I haven't interviewed, to be fair. Yes, I did, Linda Nolan.
You haven't interviewed Phil.
Yeah, you haven't interviewed me. How rude.
He won't. I've asked him many times to get into my bed with me, and he always refused.
He's very wise. And also his mother, who is watching the show, is going, I swear to God, Philip, we're going to have a word after this show. You're not going near that.
His mum's in my bed, though.
And Eve Phantom says, love Timmy.
What?
Eve Phantom says, love Timmy. Eve, I don't know how to break this to you, but I think it's a lost cause, if you're thinking romantically.
Eve.
Yes,
Eve Phantom is her name.
Eve, go on YouTube, darling, and put in Here She Is. Oh, you won't be able to get enough of me there.
Well,
Chock-a-block, YouTube-wise.
Tell me.
I can fill your tube.
I can't help.
Oh, for God's sake, stop it. That's disgusting.
Family show.
Get rid of this guest. He's ghastly. Tell him to go.
Okay, bye. Anyway, there you go. Right. So no, Timothy, we're flat out of time, dear boy. So
I'll see you later, guys. Optimism is what we need. We're going to get out of this. I'm really up.
Optimism and a towel.
We've had you on the show for 20 minutes. How much more optimism do you want? Anyway, we'll speak to you
desperation. That is, I think.
Bye.
Desperation.
There we go. Good Lord. Right. That was different.
What do you want for more than one show? You got Cheryl Baker from the Fizz and Timmy Alexis Carrington Ward from the Bath.
Well, I know. Well, quite. I mean,
Maybe it should be called the Fizz and the Foam.
either that or Bubbles Bath. But hey,
I didn't get that. Sue
that's
Desmond
my
says she's
bubble.
ready for an interview and she's in the bath now.
oh, for heaven's sakes. Anyway, right. Sadly, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much indeed to the marvelous Cheryl Baker. Thank you very much to me, Alexis Carrington Ward. And thank you for watching and listening and commenting. See you Wednesday at
Gonna
midday.
lie down. Bye.